So that was just a little subpar.
We call them Italian Oogies because that's where we're from. We're Italians. Hey, forget about it.
He's the food scientist that loves food and will put you in a good mood. It's Johnny Aardvark. He's the life of the party.
What's up, Aardvark foodies? We're back, and today we're finally trying Subway, a classic and American staple, and surprisingly enough, a company I used to work for. Now let's go get some fresh deli sliced meats. Now, do you want to hear a crazy first fun fact about Subway? They serve almost 5,300 sandwiches every 60 seconds. That is insane. That is probably more burgers than McDonald's sells in an hour. And another crazy thing about Subway is that in the nation of Singapore, which is only 300 square miles, they have 125 Subway locations. That is also insane. Now it's time to get on that train and head down to the Subway. So we're gonna do one of them on whole grain, provolone as well. Actually, we'll do that mozzarella actually for the meatball, the Belgrogios, the Giozios, however that's pronounced. One 6-inch Titan turkey on honey oat, or I guess you guys don't have the honey oat anymore, huh? We'll do the multi-grain, then the fancier wheat, I guess. On the tuna, we'll do the shredded, what is it, the Colby Jack, shredded Monterey cheddar. On the steak, can we just do some spinach? Why does Subway smell so good? We'll figure that out once we get back to the lab. Now we've really got the delicious meats. I cannot wait to lay these out and try them out. Take that, Arby's. To the lab we go to uncover some hidden truths and some secret science behind one of America's most iconic restaurant chains, Subway. All right, Aardvark foodies, we are back at the lab, and look at this display. Whew, we've got a wide array of sandwiches to try. Not only, we've also got the protein bowls and, of course, a salad. Although the difference between a protein bowl and a salad, that's still up for debate. But we've got our Titan turkey, we've got our tuna, we've got a Philly cheesesteak, we've got the spicy Italiano, and we've got the classic meatball sub. Let's dig into it. Subway has recently revamped their menu. Aside from the classics that we all know, like the cold cut, the meatball, the Italian BMT, the chicken teriyaki, the buffalo chicken, and just to name a few. Now they've got the signature lineup, which consists of cheesesteaks, clubs, Italianos, and chicken. And today we've got a little bit of sort of each to try. The first sandwich we're going to try is on that signature lineup. And we've got it right here, the Philly cheesesteak, topped with just one line of mayo to make it a little bit thicker, a little bit creamier, and just oh so much tastier. But a significant bit more unhealthy. We did try to make it a little bit healthier, so all of the sandwiches here came loaded with spinach, a very good vegetable to consume regularly. Because it's just like Popeye would say, spinach makes me strong, matey. Now, we're going to try our first bite of this Philly cheesesteak. Look at all those vegetables. The line of mayo does not make up for those veggies, but it does make it tastier. Good color. We've got our banana pepper sort of hidden in there. The spinach, of course. Some tomatoes, some onions. Let's go. Ooh. That was a big first bite. Let's try for one more. Delicious. Now that mayo definitely does add some unhealthy fat that we don't really want to be trying too much of, but that's why it's the only sandwich that we got with mayo. And we had them thin it out by only doing one quick little line. Just enough to give us that extra flavor, but not so much that it would be horribly unhealthy. But that's the best thing about Subway, is you get to load them up with as many vegetables as you'd like. You can throw everything on there and basically make it a salad between bread. Heck, they even have a sandwich called the Veggie Delight. And it is delicious. Great for pre-workout because of all those carbs, and then the nutrition from all the vegetables kicks in while you're working out and after to refuel your muscles and rehydrate your body. But of course, I like to add a little bit of extra protein to my Veggie Delight, so I'm gonna do it with chicken or steak. Try to avoid the deli meats, but if I do, I'm gonna typically tend towards turkey or roast beef, staying away from the ham and the cold cut in particular. Now, if you are trying to build more muscle mass, it is really good to stay towards the chicken versus your steaks, beefs, and other red meats. And it's because of the amino acids inside chicken specifically. They're great for protein and great for rebuilding your muscles after a good hard workout. But hey, who cares? I mean, I'm just a food scientist, not a bodybuilder. Yet. So that steak was great. I always like to add a little bit of extra meat because of that added protein and try to help offset all those carbs from the bread, but still, you cannot go wrong with a classic steak from Subway. Easily a 7 or 8 out of 10. And that's saying something because I've been to Philadelphia and I've gotten a Philly cheesesteak straight from the Reading Terminal Market, and that was easily one of the best sandwiches I've ever had in my entire life. Seriously, if you're ever in Philadelphia, you've got to check out the Reading Terminal Market. It is basically an old train station that was completely revamped and converted into a massive food district filled with all kinds of foods that not only can you eat there, but you can also shop for. It's an amazing place. I highly recommend you check out. Now, to uncover an interesting fact about why all Subways do smell the same, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that they bake their bread fresh in-house every day. I would know, I used to do it. The bread comes in essentially smaller, thinner, frozen sticks of dough that then get defrosted, typically over a day, and then will be then put into not only the proofer, but then the oven for final baking. And all of that, as we've talked about previously, is caramelization, a big part of the Maillard reaction family. So supposedly, the caramelization, or that Maillard browning, has something to do with the smell that we're all accustomed to smelling whenever we walk into a Subway. It's all that freshly baked bread that really just triggers something in us of a classic sense of home, of fresh baked bread in your house every day and every morning. It's something that Subway is known for, they've been doing, and it's what set them apart from other similar chains to them. And it's something they'll hopefully continue to do for the future. So a chemical that was in fact in Subway's breads for quite some time up until about the mid 2014s was azodicarbonamide. It is a chemical that is commonly found not only in yoga mats, rubber, and shoe leather. But luckily enough, after some heavy backlash here in the States, it was phased out of Subway's breads because it is legal to use here in the United States, but illegal to have in food in a lot of other countries around the world. Now, let's try some more of that oh so delicious bread in another signature Subway sandwich, the Hot Shot Italiano. This guy right over here. And we got my little aardvark friend here just keeping him warm for me. Now, on this one, we again decided to deck it out with pretty standard veggies, some spinach, some red onions, a few tomatoes in there, and we've got banana peppers again. And here's a fun trick about Subway. If you ask them to, you can have them put the veggies on before it toasts. Another big hack, have them hit those veggies with a little bit of oil and salt and pepper, and that will really help to caramelize and add just some amazing extra flavor to these veggies. We did it on most of these sandwiches here. You've got to try it out for yourself. Here we go. Nice cross section. A little bit more of that interior. You can see some of that salt and pepper we got on there. Oh, and I almost forgot. One of the favorite things that I love, pickles. Boy, Heinz used to make genuine dill pickles, and I loved those things. They were not frozen, they were heated essentially, and then packaged into jars. They were amazing, and I used to be able to snack on a whole jar of them at a time. Not good for your sodium intake or your kidneys, so I do not recommend it. Here we go with the Hot Shot Italiano. We're going to try our first big old bite. Ready? Here we go. Delicious. A slight takeoff of the classic Italian BMT, which contained pepperoni, salami, and ham, This one just has the pepperoni and salami. And we did it with a little provolone cheese this time ourselves. Take a look at that. Nice little bite into section. One more bite because it's just oh so good. Delicious. If I had to give that a rating, I miss the ham on it. The ham really adds just a little bit of extra flavor, a little bit of added fat, some more protein, just a little bit, not a lot. But it's really that taste of that Black Forest ham that Subway is known for that I truly look forward to whenever I get an Italian or a BMT. So for me, that is going to be a 6 out of 10. Still solid, highly recommend, but it's definitely worth trying with that ham. The classic Italian BMT. And of course, you cannot do it without the Italian dressing. Alright, before we try our next sandwich, we've got to take Subway to the bank. Let's see if the 6-inch is actually 6 inches. So right here, we've got our Titan turkey on wheat bread. And we've got our measuring. Now let's see if it measures up. We're gonna help Subway out. We're gonna actually go from highest to lowest. And if we go from right there to there, you can see we're actually just a little bit past the 6-inch mark. We give it a couple of additional measurements for verification. We can sort of see that the average does end up about right at 6 inches. So good on you, sandwich artist. You know how to measure. And you know how to cut a good sandwich in half. Speaking of metrics and measurements and all kinds of other fancy science terms, let's just see how fast I can eat this Titan Turkey 6-inch sandwich in. I'm going to kick it up a notch by using just a smidge of dressing. Let's see what I want to go for. We've got honey mustard, classic mustard, garlic aioli, ranch, sweet onion. That's a good one. Decisions, decisions, decisions. Let's do buffalo sauce. Or in this instance, sriracha. Alrighty now. I've got my napkin at the ready. Cup of water to help wash this down. And my dressing to make it just a little bit easier. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Probably could have done it a little bit faster, but still, I'd like to see the time on that. Now, even though Subway is known for being the healthier fast food option, all of the bread doesn't necessarily always validate that. So, to help compensate, they introduced the salad and, most importantly, the protein bowl. And here, we've got ourselves one big protein bowl itself. And what we've decided to do for y'all today is to give you the Beast Protein Bowl. This is basically every one of the deli meats that Subway has sliced up a little bit and crammed into a bowl with some vegetables. What's the difference between it and a salad, you ask? I'm still trying to figure that out myself. Comment down below what you think the difference between a salad and a protein bowl is. We'd love to hear it. Look at this monster. Look at this absolute beast of a bowl. It reminds me of a big sandwich we actually had back in my day. It was called the Feast. Now it quite literally had everything that Subway had to offer on it. Every single vegetable, every single meat, steak, chicken. You could throw a meatball on there, I think. That was the only thing that might not have been included on it. But all the lunch meats, all the deli meat, and it was slammed on the bread that Subway is known for. That thing was a monster of a sandwich, and I've only ever seen it ordered a couple of times. But to give it some new life, they've gone ahead and made the Beast. Now we're going to try this guy out with, let's do some sweet onion dressing. Now it's a bit of a thicker dressing, but luckily enough, it does not contain very many calories. It's one of Subway's low-cal options that they have. We're going to go ahead and give this guy a big old first bite. See if I can't grab a healthy amount of veggies along with the meat without losing too much of it. Right here, it looks like I've got some salami, some pepperoni, some turkey, and some roast beef. And unless I'm missing it, Doesn't appear to have any ham in this first big old bite. Let's give it a try. Delicious. The thing about these salads and protein bowls that Subway always does is they'll always put the veggies down at the bottom and then put the meat up top. So if you want to get a nice, even, good bite, it usually takes a bit of mixing and matching around on it. For this one in particular, we loaded it up with all the veggies Subway has to offer. The lettuce, the spinach, the tomatoes, the red onions, the green peppers, the yellow peppers, the jalapeno peppers, the black olives, and a few cucumbers. It's so delicious, I sure could shove my whole face into it, so I think I just may. Fascinating enough, Subway actually used to offer a chopped salad. Basically, before putting all of this into a bowl, they would take all your vegetables, your meats, your protein, and your cheese, toss it into a big serving bowl, and then use a very nice chopper to actually chop it up into nice fine bits. And man, I sure did love that, because basically it ensured that every time I took a bite out of my salad, I was able to get the same consistent bite and taste from start to finish. And that's what we all look for: quality and consistency. With these newfangled guys, I have to dig to the bottom to get at my veggies, and then risk knocking everything out of my bowl as I go to scoop them up. Come on, Subway, bring back the chopped salad, please. For me. Next up, we are going to try one of the most iconic and classic sandwiches on the Subway menu, and that is the meatball marinara that my little aardvark here has, of course, been keeping warm for me. Now, we didn't try to fancy or doll this one up too much. This is your classic meatballs, although we did top it off with some of that Belgiozio's mozzarella. It is amazing, and you've got to try it. Now, you can get it with regular provolone, that's fine too. But a couple of extra additions if you want to add some extra spice or flavor to your meatball. You can also do similar to how we did with the steak. Do one line of mayo, don't be too gluttonous, but a little bit of mayo really helps to thicken that meatball sauce out, and it's not as bad as it sounds, trust me. Take a look at this hearty meatball with a fresh mozzarella cheese, some good marinara sauce, and 4 meatballs to a 6-inch. That is what it's supposed to look like. Now, a few other fun additions you can do to your meatball to spice it up a bit. You can actually add some pepperoni. That does not make it much healthier, but it's a meatball. Come on, how healthy is it already? But it does add an extra kick and flavor. Another fun addition is to do kind of like we have before, add a few green peppers, even some red onions to it. Have them hit that with a little bit of oil, salt, pepper, and especially with this, oregano. And that'll really take your meatball up to the next level. And I wish I would have known about some of that stuff growing up, because honestly, this was one of the first sandwiches I would get from a Subway when I was a kid. I remember getting off football practice, and my aunt was luckily enough able to take me to Subway and buy me, just a nice meal to fuel me back up for the rest of the day and the next day's workout too. And it was always the meatball sub that was my go-to. Thankfully, I got older, I learned a lot more about nutrition, and I realized that it is not the best sandwich to always be your go-to. So growing up, I was able to try more things like the sweet onion chicken teriyaki, heck, even a classic buffalo chicken, or when they had it back then, the classic chicken breast sandwich. All of those are great options to have, just to try and stay away from always eating a meatball sub. Now, even though some of Subway's options are not the healthiest by any real great standard, they can be made to work for you. I know this because when I was younger, Subway was one of the first jobs that I had when I turned 16. And like I said, I mentioned playing football and all this other stuff, so I was really, eating the meats back then for sure, and just slamming down as much bread as I could, because let's face it, you need as much energy as you can when you're a 16-year-old playing high school football in Western Pennsylvania. But once the season ended after my senior year, and I knew it was time to really start being a lot more health conscious and, caring a lot more about my physique and my body, that's when I decided to make Subway work for me. Every day for lunch, we would always be allowed to get, a 6-inch or a foot long at a much reduced price. And every time for me, it was always a 6-inch turkey on wheat with one of the low-calorie dressings like sweet onion, honey mustard, or classic mustard. No ranch, no chipotle, no mayo for sure. But that is a great way to actually make Subway work for you. You're getting your protein, you're getting some good carbs throughout the day, And of course, the veggies are really where all that magical nutrition happens. And it's what helps you grow healthy and strong. But this is not one of those times. Come to me, you delicious classic meatball marinara. Tastes just the way that I remember it. That's why I keep coming back to Subway meatballs. I know they're not the healthiest, but they are one of my far and few in between special treats to have, just to take me back to those good old nostalgic days. And surprisingly enough, they taste the same as they did back then. Now here's a fun fact about meatballs. Did you know they were actually a way to dress up lower quality ingredients? It was basically a quick attempt at recycling or being able to use up anything that maybe had been, say, sitting around for a while and that was going to maybe cost some money if it was thrown away. They would use stale bread and then whatever other meats were still sitting around to try and formulate the meatball, just to basically save costs and save ingredients, which can be good but can also be bad. Because if those ingredients have gone bad, there's nothing really to redeem about them. They just pose a potential food safety and health risk. And also interesting about the meatballs is that every single culture tends to have their own version of it, whether it be made of lamb, beef, pork, or even chicken. All these different cultures tend to commonly have a meatball. Now that is a spicy meatball. Now next up is the tuna with a spicy little kick. We added some buffalo sauce to this tuna, and it's on the unique Subway flatbread, something that a couple of other restaurants have, but Subway really started out with many years ago, heck, back when I first started working there even. Now, a fun fact about the tuna is that it is in fact tuna, but they mix it pretty heavily with mayonnaise, so something to just be mindful for again. Mayonnaise is not one of the best condiments or dressings out there. It is basically just fat. You really want to be careful when you consume it because it can affect your cholesterol and other important health factors. But we're not super concerned about that right now. What we are super concerned about is eating it. And like always, I have my little aardvark here keeping it nice and warm for me. And like all of our other sandwiches, we loaded it up with the veggies. Some tomatoes, some red onions, some good spinach. Threw a couple of pickles in there for that added kick. And yellow, or what's called banana peppers. Now, it is time to take that first iconic bite. Not too bad, not too great. If I'm being honest, I prefer my tuna and my seafoods basically just sort of by themselves, fresh, seared on a nice pan or grill. So that was just a little subpar, but overall, not too bad of a sandwich. Now again, not the greatest or the healthiest option choice due to all the mayonnaise that's been incorporated with the tuna, but if you're looking for, maybe a quick pre-workout pump up, it could be a viable option. Stress on the word could. All in all, I've got to give this a 5 out of 10, and that is just because the tuna, like I said, not my style. I'd much rather go for a fresh pan sear, maybe with a little bit of lemon, some garlic, just something to really give it that extra taste and flavor without all the added fat and calories from the mayo and the bread and everything else. The veggies I'm good with, but we've got to watch our caloric intake and also to our carbs and the hours in which we eat them, because the more carbs that you eat later on at night, the more likely those carbs are going to be less utilized for quick, immediate energy burning, and more they will be stored into long-term fat storage, which is always an important thing to watch out for if you're trying to watch the old waistline. Now, here's a fun topic for debate. What do you call these sandwiches? Do you call them subs, submarines, hoagies, grinders, or heroes? The debate is widely open to interpretation and where you're from and where you live. See, these sandwiches are widely known throughout the United States as subs, or short for submarines. But in Pennsylvania, we like to call them hoagies. And originally, these subs were found in New York and New Jersey. What do you think about that, Tone?
Yeah, well, we call them Italian hoagies, because that's where we're from. We're Italians. Hey, forget about it.
All right, and one of the last things we have to try on the menu is the Subway salad. Again, not really sure what the big difference between that and a protein bowl is, but I guess it's enough to make a whole separate list for it on their menu. So, time to dig in. Now, because this already has some buffalo chicken sauce on it, and a nice little layer of Monterey cheddar jack cheese, there's our chicken, there's our buffalo sauce, and then there is every vegetable we could get our hands on that made good sense. No olives on this guy, and I don't believe we got jalapeno peppers on it because there's already enough of a spicy kick. Let's go in after we mix it around a little bit more just to show y'all the healthy... Oh, I lied. There's the jalapeno. Well, we've got some chicken, we've got some spinach, we've got a jalapeno, we've got some buffalo sauce. Time to try that first bite. Try to get this last piece of chicken. We're gonna go for a second bite because it was just so darn good. Now, that buffalo chicken salad is actually one of my favorite go-to menu options for Subway, especially if I'm in the middle of a busy workday and I just want to get something good, something healthy, something nutritious in me. That's always what I'll go to. And especially even for a post-workout meal, it's actually a good choice. The hot sauce is going to help to, in a sense, accelerate your metabolism, not by much, but just a smidge. The chicken's great for protein, post-workout rebuild those muscles, and again, all the wonderful nutrition that comes within those veggies, great for a post-workout. So really, you get a buffalo chicken salad anytime, and it's always going to be a good solid option. Except for me personally, I'm always usually putting an extra 2 or 3 portions of chicken on there just to make it even so much better. So that buffalo chicken is always a great call. If you put it on bread though, you're going to want to eat that before your workout, just so that way you get those added carbs to help basically burn out when you're working out. Post-workout, highly recommend the salad. You want those nutrients, you want that chicken, and that buffalo sauce is low calorie and low in fat too. Now here's an important fact about most pre-sliced deli meats. Not only are they higher in fat, nitrates, and sodium than their freshly sliced counterparts, and that is mainly due to an increased surface area and the added preservatives required to basically keep that meat fresh. And as a result, processed meats like that can contribute significantly to diabetes and heart disease, even more so than red meat. But luckily, Subway now freshly slices their deli meats in-house every day, and that is a good step in the right direction. Now, another important fact about these nitrites and nitrites is that sodium nitrate and sodium nitrite are commonly found and used in the smoking and preservation of deli meats. This not only helps to preserve the meat and prevent growth of harmful bacteria, but also preserve that pristine pink color that we know and associate with fresh deli meats. Now, while these nitrites and nitrates are useful at not only preventing mold, bacteria, and fungi in deli meats, they have been shown to potentially cause an increased risk of cancer. And also important to note that some deli meats, like salami and bologna, or bologna if you can believe that, have high levels of saturated fat. And these higher levels of saturated fat can contribute to cardiovascular disease, one of the biggest killers across the world. And now it's time for the Cookie Monster to appear. Nom 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 nom. Now today we've got 4 of Subway's iconic cookies to try out and rate for y'all. And we're going to show you a special little treat at the end just for you. We've got the classic chocolate chip cookie with what appears to be just a smidge of mayo on it from our Philly cheesesteak, so we'll go ahead and bite from this end. Beautiful. Soft, gooey, not too hard or crispy. If you've seen our crumble video, you know how I like my cookies, and this is just how I like them. And if you haven't seen our crumble video, go ahead and give that one a watch after this one, because we got to try some amazing crumble cookie flavors, and you won't want to miss out. Next up, we've got the white chip macadamia nut. Now it's important to note, macadamia nuts can be prone to certain types of bacterial spoilage, so luckily Subway has ensured a good supply chain to make sure that that does not happen to theirs. Here we go. You can tell that they used a little bit more of the vanilla seasoning in that one versus the standard chocolate chip, because you can definitely taste that complementing the taste of the macadamia nuts. All right, next up, we've got the double chocolate chip cookie. with white chocolate chips in it. Interesting take. That one's a little bit harder than the classic chocolate chip. Bit of an off point for me, but it does taste extra chocolatey. So there's a point back. And last but not least, we've got the raspberry cheesecake cookie. Let's try it out. Delicious. Now me, I'm a big fan of berries. Strawberries, raspberries, blueberries, snozberries. If it's a berry, I'm typically a big fan of it. Now that right there not only captures the beautiful taste of a raspberry, but a nice undertone of a cheesecake flavoring, blending oh so beautifully in a nice cookie. Alright, now since you've made it this far, we're going to show you the monster cookie bite, or the cookie monster bite. Either way you phrase it, it's going to be delicious. And I personally am going to rank them in order from my favorite, most to least. Up top, we've got the raspberry cheesecake. This thing was just so delicious ever since it was first introduced. I remember when I was working at Subway and they said, here, now we've got this raspberry cheesecake cookie we're going to try out and see how it works. And very clearly, it did. This thing is still around today. It is no longer just a seasonal favorite. This is a cookie you can find in most Subway restaurants year-round. So it is going right up top. But after it, I'm going to have to drop that double chocolate chip and go with the white chip macadamia nut. Personally, I'm a big fan of macadamia nuts, and the vanilla undertone that is also introduced here, it just gets me. I can't say anything more than that. These two together, I'm already excited. But now, we've got our classic chocolate chip cookie with the ooey gooey delicious center with all those beautiful little chocolate chips that just, they melt right in your mouth. That's number 3. Meaning that our double chocolate chip does round out the pack at the 4th place. Not bad, but for me, definitely the least liked cookie out of this little sandwich I'm about to try here. So if you're ready, I know I am, we're going to give it a bite. Now I bet we could put that in a blender, it would come out tasting amazing. But it still did just on its own. This raspberry cheesecake, ooh, so good. Still can't get over that. I'm going to save this one for later. Now, there's one cookie we did not get, and that was the oatmeal raisin. Because I'm just going to be honest, I do not like oatmeal raisins. I do not like them on a plane. I do not like them on a train. I do quite indeed think they are lame. I do not like them on a boat. I do not like them on a float. I do not like them here or there. I do not like oatmeal raisin cookies anywhere. I just personally think they're a bit ooey. But you know what? I know this is a big hot topic of debate and discussion, so comment down below what you think of oatmeal raisins. Yay or nay? Now, you know, one of my fondest memories about working for Subway was just getting to bring joy and delight to people with a freshly made, customized sandwich right to their order. It was always fun to be able to see, everybody from young children to old adults coming in and getting literally whatever they wanted, and it was a really good feeling of satisfaction knowing that I made this piece of artwork, if you will, just right to their specifications and desires. And they always left happy. That was always my goal, was to just give a great customer experience and make exactly what they wanted right in front of them, which was really another huge breakthrough for Subway alone. They were one of the first restaurants to actually show you what you were getting as they were making it. Literally making the food right in front of your face. How cool is that? McDonald's and other major chains started by having an open visibility kitchen, but Subway was really the first place that actually made your food right in front of you from start to finish. And I think that's one of the big reasons why they're still around and so popular everywhere. They even have more locations than McDonald's. McDonald's of all places. And it was a real good joy for me when my friends and family would come in and I got to customize and make them the exact perfect sandwich I knew they'd enjoy. Lettuce, tomato, pickle, no sauce, no cheese. Gotcha, bud. Well, alright folks. We had another wonderful food venture today, where we got to try a bunch of different things, go into some science, and hopefully have a little fun while learning about food as well. We've got a lot of cool, crazy episodes in the works right now, and they're so amazing and insane, I can't even tell you that much about them yet. But I can tell you to stay tuned and keep alert for our next couple of videos, because they will be something to watch. Don't forget to subscribe. I love sharing these stories with you folks. It really helps me feel a good sense of accomplishment, educating the world episode by episode, fact by fact, about the food that we put in our bodies, which doesn't necessarily always fit. Well, that was sublime. Thanks again for joining us on another wonderful episode, Aardvark Foodies. Be sure to like and subscribe if you love what you saw here, and click that little bell notification so you can stay up to date on all of our new food adventures. And please comment down below, what is your favorite Subway sandwich of all time? Include everything, all the fixins, the dressings, everything. Even if one time you said, you know what, screw it, put everything on the sub. We want to hear about it. So comment down below and let us know your favorite sandwich at Subway. Until next time, Aardvark Foodies, this is Johnny Aardvark signing out. And be sure to eat fresh.